We are live. Good morning, everybody. We got a lot of breaking news, a lot of things happening today, and I'm a lot of things happening today. But we are going to condense this down into one major story. Uh, yeah, this is something that is just now starting to gel together. This could actually be the largest financial scandal the Pentagon has ever known. This is huge. This explains a lot about Pete Hegseth. Let's dig into it. Let's get started. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're in the Christmas spirit. I am. I know I'm excited. I am just fired up. I'm getting more and more excited every day. We're starting to rummage through the attic and bringing more and more stuff down. It is getting very jolly here in the Schroeder household. I hope that things are moving along for the holidays for you. But let's dig into the news. Let's dig into what's going on. There's a lot that's been going on. Before we go to our main story, let's talk about some of the stuff that's been happening. This is Brian Cole. The Department of Justice is saying that this is the January 6th pipe bomber. This is Brian Cole. He's from Woodbridge, Maryland. He is just a little background information on him. He's 30 years old. He lives at home with his parents. This is what they've got on the guy. They did a sweep of his house. They've been looking at background information on the guy. This is going to be interesting going forward. Lives in a really nice neighborhood. That's a pretty Georgian. I love Georgians, man. If you don't know what a Georgian is, it's that classic style five. They call it 5/4 and a door. 5 windows over 4 windows with a door in the middle. I love Georgians. I really do. His parents, this is far from a slam dunk case. Yes, his family's saying that he may be autistic. Thank you, Blue Lady, for being ahead of. I love you folks so much for that. You are always so well informed. There's a lot of skepticism, Contessahood. There's a lot of skepticism around this, but this is what they've got. ET, of course, unless there's money involved and the Mad King gets his cut, it's of no interest to these people. Talking about our main story, I'm sure. There's a lot of skepticism. This is what they've got. That's what I said. Woodbridge, Virginia. Yeah, Woodbridge, Virginia. His family's business is in Fairfax. He is in, I would say, lower upper class. His family's business. They're in the bail bonding business, and they're getting a lot of shit right now. Jesus Christ! I was looking up their family's business just for background. And the maggots are coming out of the woodwork, just threatening these people. They're leaving shitty Yelp reviews on their business, which is just stupid because their bail bonding business is not a storefront. It is not one of those where you see if you've ever been around a jail or involved with law enforcement, that you've been around a jail. There's lots of storefronts for. Those are for low-end criminals. Then there's another kind of bail bonding business where they've got an office in the same building as a pretty successful law firm, and they work in partnership with that law. That's the kind of bail bonding business his family has. I mean, they've got money. You've got to have a lot of cash on hand to run a bail bonding business. These are affluent people. They're familiar with the system. He's going to have a good lawyer. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting to begin with. Yeah, they're saying he may be autistic. Um, Amen, brother. Vinny Damon, thank you for being here. 1374. Thank you. Always glad to see the new folks here. Thank you very much. Glad to see you. Thank you for supporting the show. KWalk 230, same to you. Good morning to you. Thank you for all you new folks. Please hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. This is going to be an interesting show, folks. You've got to hang out for the whole thing. What they have on him, that they're saying they have on him, okay, is they've gone back and they looked at his financial records and show that he's made purchases of the materials to make the bombs. They're not saying that the materials he bought are the materials that made the bombs, because there's no way to track. These are common items. This is a kitchen timer, pipe, galvanized pipe. There's galvanized pipe all over. The Home Depot, where this pipe, they're saying he bought the pipe, is the largest distributor for galvanized pipe probably in the country, to be quite honest with you, but definitely in the area. It's really something, this case that they're saying they put together. And Pam Bondi's out there talking like this is a slam dunk. This is the farthest thing from a slam dunk, folks. It really is. Now, they do have enough information on this guy to make him a serious suspect. But as far as getting to a conviction, I don't know. Hey, Paul, Mr. Will, good to see you, brother. Good to see you always here, man. Hey, Paul, here with you always. My ride or die people in the house. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Here's the thing. This is what they have. They have financial debit card receipts tracking through his accounts where he bought items that were also used in the manufacture of these bombs. He also continued to buy these kinds of items after January 6th, which is just an interesting point. And two, I want to remind you folks, these were functional bombs. These were not toys. If he did this, if he's the one that laid them out, one was by a park bench and one was in the garden by the RNC. If he's the one that laid these out, if someone had picked these up and just turned that kitchen timer a notch, you know how kitchen timers work. You turn it, and even if you just do 2 seconds, it tick, 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 ding. Yeah, it would have gone off. These were fully functional. This was a dangerous, stupid thing that was done. 13 Donna Bell, enjoying my first cup of Kitty Town coffee and my Texas Paul mug. Thanks for a recommendation on your AMA. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And Flip is great too. Kitty Town does fantastic work for the cats, and Rocky Kaneka over at Flip does amazing things with dogs. There's a lot of places if you want to get good coffee to also do really good things. Here's the thing. His family is well versed. They're saying, I hope he's not talking. I hope he's not, he's going to have representation. Now, he may have done it. I mean, don't get me wrong. He may have done it. This may be the guy. This is going to evolve over several days. Exactly what's happening. I mean, this is anything he says in custody without an attorney is going to be useless because, like I said, he may be autistic. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that saying he confessed. It doesn't matter. Anything he says without representation. Should his family choose to fight this, they have means. They have the relationships. I'm just telling you his background. George Allen, good to see you. This is what they've got on him for sure. He bought the same things that were used to make this. His car Uh, you can't drive around DC. There's license without going into the system. You just can't. It's one of the most secure areas in the world. They have his car. License plate readers have flagged his car in the area where these things were put out. His cell phone pinged off a tower by the DNC at the exact same time these things were put out. I mean, they've got him in the area, they've got his car in the area, they've got him purchasing these items. You'd think that was a pretty slam dunk thing. You would. But this is going to be interesting if they decide to fight it, because these things that he purchased are incredibly common items. Incredibly common items. Um, the fact that his cell phone pinged off a tower, so did millions of other cell phones. Literally millions of other cell phones pinged off that tower in that time frame. Um, his car being identified by a license plate reader, again, not 100% technology. If he chooses to fight this, he's got wiggle room to fight. And like I said, resources, relationships, and whatnot. Now, if he did it, hopefully, what will happen is that his family will support him confessing. They'll get him the best attorney they can, because yeah, apparently this guy's having mental issues. But the important thing that I want you to take from this, that I really, really want you to take from this, is how did a guy that is completely antisocial, works at a business with his family, doesn't, according to his family, doesn't hang out with friends, doesn't have friends, get radicalized into doing something like this? How? That's what I want you to be really, really aware of, keenly aware of, how this guy would have been radicalized. Spicy Gesture, Midas Touch shared a tweet where a Charlie Kirk influencer wanted to bomb another boat because people picked on Hegseth, and our Secretary of Defense responded with, "Your wish, my command, just sank another boat." I know these people are gross. These people are gross. And yes, they did just destroy another drug boat. And yes, MAGA in their bloodlust are all for this murdering. That they are. And I'm not doing the drug boats today in today's show because we're having more hearings with Admiral Beck. I mean, just it's in flux. They're stepping on their own stories. They're saying things that are probably going to come back to bite them. Provable things that are going to come back to bite them. This is definitely in flux. We're not going to get that deep into the boat story today. Ollie, 1976. Good morning. Thanks for clarity, Texas. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I appreciate you. But yeah, they've got a good case to build on the guy. And I am hoping, if he is the guy, that he does confess to it, that he does get this kid was radicalized. It's looking like, again, in the gaming community. In the gaming community. Folks, you need to know, you need to be involved. If your kids are gaming online and they are going to different platforms, hell, we stream on Twitch. Twitch is a huge gaming platform. Folks, these right wingers and foreign actors are deep into these platforms, and they are radicalizing people. Remember Jack Teixeira, the Air Force, the young, I call him a kid. By my age, he's a kid. He was a grown ass man, but got arrested and had his career ruined for sharing, our top secret information on these gaming platforms. He was radicalized on these gaming platforms. We have a whole segment of kids. We have a whole segment of kids that are just, and I say kids, they're young men. They're young men that are on these platforms that are just exposed to the worst of the worst of the worst. And they're being recruited by white supremacists, Christian nationalists, foreign actors. Russia is huge on these gaming platforms. Actually, Russia actually have, companies in Russia have actually created a couple of these majorly popular, uh, specifically war games that are out there that are hugely popular. They come straight out of Russia. The manipulation, the capability is insane. Is insane. D Canyon notes self, use use someone else's license plate. Oh God, this is a mess. Martha Stiegel saying he's already confessed. Has his family agreed? Because anything he said without an attorney, I'm telling you, is useless. It is useless. It is completely useless. So they'll get it thrown out of court if they fight it. Has his family stepped up and with an attorney, has he confessed? Is that where we're at now? Jason Johnson, 3605. Thank you, Texas Paul and Mrs. Texas Paul, for what you guys do. Longtime watchers, first time contributing. I appreciate you being here. You new folks are what let us know that this is going to keep going. Thought it was time to show our support. Nothing Keg's Breath does surprises me at this point. Yeah, this is something. This is something. George Allen, loved your interview with Tennessee Brando. Thanks, Paul. Order me a new cup soon as I get. I am glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. But yeah, the what I'm hearing, what I'm reading about this young man is that he is mentally troubled. He is developmentally challenged, is what I'm hearing. Um, and again, if they question him alone without an attorney, um, yeah, I nothing he said is going to be worth a damn in court. It's just not. But yes, please, people, again, Turning Point USA with your kids in their schools are radicalizing your kids in schools and saying the nastiest shit to your kids there. You've got the same types of groups. Again, foreign actors, you've got Christian nationalists, you've got white supremacists, you've got all kinds of groups that are focusing on these gaming platforms. They are coming for your young men. They are. You need to be very aware. That's where these kids are getting radicalized. This kid had no social life. He had no friend circle to lead him to crazy. He didn't. That happened online. So please, folks, please, pretty please. I keep warning you about these groups and your people. Talk to your kids. If they start saying crazy shit, find out where it's coming from. Find out what the source is. You may need to intervene there. I mean, and it'll be a fight because they get addicted to this stuff. Agent Cajun John, let them talk shit as much as they can. They will bury themselves with BS. Keg Breath will be jailed. They are conflicting themselves. I'm not doing the boat story today because I was watching some of the reporting last night on this, and they are conflicting with their own previous stories. And you've got some really good journalists, not commentators, not online influencers, not any of that are really digging down on this one. There's a lot that's going to come out of this. And all I can do at this point is muddy the waters. And it seems like that's what they're actually trying to do, is to muddy the waters. Yeah, exactly. The Groypers all came out. This is where Nick Fuentes, the bigoted and Christian nationalist freak, and his Groyper movement came out of the online gaming community. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You need to be aware of what's going on. But that's not the only thing that's happened today. Kash Patel's in hot water. This is what happens when you take, folks, you know how stupid it would be to make me head of the FBI? Do you know how stupid that would be? How rankly unqualified I would be for that job? That's what they did with Kash Patel. This guy is a right-wing shit poster and a podcaster. He never should have been head of the FBI, and it has just been one embarrassing thing after another. And I can tell you, morale is in the shitter at the FBI. I am listening to, you get former agents that stay plugged in, that stay involved in the organizations that are, that surround and are part of the FBI community. And I'm telling you, morale is shit right now in our national law enforcement, because this is just it's embarrassing. It's gotten so bad. You remember the scandal that broke? Alexis Wilkins is Cash Patel's very young girlfriend. She is a singer and she's based out of Nashville. And the first, it was he's using the FBI jet, which was hypocritical as hell, because it's what Cash Patel used to sit and, as a right wing shit poster, used to sit and rail about was, oh, these people are given jets to do their jobs. They don't need jets to do their jobs. They can fly commercial. And then this asshole is using, jumping on his G5 every time I turn around so he can go see his damn girlfriend naked in Memphis. This is bullshit. It's hypocritical as hell. Then she gets death threats. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something. I get death threats. The most recent death threat I had was 3 days ago. It was not so much a severe "I'm coming at you right now" threat. It is more of like a death wish. Somebody sent me a little message that said they hope that I catch a bullet. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Do I need police protection? No. No, I do not. No, I do not. This is bullshit. This is overwhelming. Just yak, 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 yak. Right wingers, this is part of their conversation. This is their meltdown. Oh, you're not scared of me. Oh, you're opposing me. You're saying things that give me the sads. Well, I hope you die is the thing that they do. It's what they do. So they're saying that Alexis Wilkins got some death threats. Every actor, every singer, every anybody of any note that's not even involved with politics puts up with that shit. They do. It's normal. It's normal. And no, they don't get protection. Cash Patel takes one of the most elite units in the FBI. They're their quick reaction force, and assigns them to act as security for his girlfriend, which was in and of itself a scandal. Everybody was like, what? What? I mean, it's bad enough you're jetting around all the time with her. You're flying her home on your FBI jet. But now you're going to take these incredibly highly, and you can see why morale's in the shitter. These are people that specialize. These are like, I keep seeing them called the FBI SWAT team. They're actually beyond that. They are. I mean, this is like military level training these guys are getting. This is not just, your local Yahoo SWAT team. No, these guys are really good. And they're walking around babysitting Alexis Wilkins. It gets worse. It gets worse. As you just saw from that headline, Alexis Wilkins is out partying with her friends. One of her friends gets fit-chased drunk, and she tells one of the security detail, drive her home. And much to his credit, that FBI agent said, no, that's not what I do. I'm security. And he's pissed off about being security. I am not, call her a cab. That's what you need to do. Alexis Wilkins apparently has a bit of a fit. Get your boyfriend on the phone. And next thing you know, one of our most specialized, highly trained FBI agents is driving some drunk biatch home from a party. Yeah. It just keeps getting worse. Brian Hoochin, thank you. How do you pronounce that last name, Brian? Can you phoneticize that out, brother? I really appreciate the support. It's a respect thing with me. I don't like to mispronounce people's names, Brian. My part of Christmas wanted to get some of your newer mugs. I need a link to the mugs as the boat things this weekend. They're actually having hearings today. They're having hearings today. They've got Admiral Bradley in there. They're talking to him today, and they really are. They're stepping all over each other. Mr. Knutson, 8761. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Mr. Knutson's from Norway. He's part of our European audience. He's one of our usual members of the audience. I'm so glad to see. I say it every time. So glad to see our audience is global. The influence, folks. If you're watching this on replay, get the chat pane open. These are above average people. These are professionals. These are people. This is a global audience. You really want to see what they have to say. I text Paul, don't undersell yourself. You would look cool in white FBI uniform and aviator glasses and the Stetson. The fungus could do the job better than Cash. I am telling you, brother, I am not arrogant. I have no business running an organization like that. About the only job I would ever take would be like an ambassadorship, and no place complicated. It would have to be like someplace I couldn't screw it up. Maybe someplace with a beach somewhere, like Tonga or something like that. And no disrespect to Tonga, important nation it is, but something like that. You know what I mean? You don't take your supporters and give them important freaking jobs. You just don't. And that is part of the theme of today's show, because we're going to talk about why Pete Hegseth still has a job. Peter Campbell, cosplay FBI director, refused to get off the jet because he didn't have his rain jacket costume. Yep. And their defense to that was, nuh-uh, fake news. Nick Bassers, as often as these folks break Grinder, how time for gaming, do they not have jobs? I'm telling you. Carol, thank you for the support. I really appreciate you. Oh man, I hope your coffee is as good as mine. I really do. Reverse birthday present from Link and me. We have the same birthday, December 8th. He turns 8. Happy birthday, young man. Happy birthday. I don't if you know what, remind me in our next show. I want to wish him a happy birthday. I'll show him you read it later at school right now. Happy birthday, young man. I love people with December birthdays. I'm telling you. Something different about us as people with December birthdays. I don't know what it is. But let's keep digging into this. There's more going on. I mean, than just this nonsense. More than this. More than his private security system, Ubers, that extends out to the drunk biatch girlfriends, friends of the girlfriends, and shit like that. There is more going on. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth for a second. Any other Secretary of Defense would have already been forced to put up their resignation. They would. By this point, with everything that's gone on, they would have. But before we dig into that, I like to frame the shows. I like you thinking about something. I like to put a taste in your mouth. I like to put a taste in your mouth. I like to frame things. I like you to look at things, having refresh your memory about things, having you, just focus on things. Let's talk about Hunter Biden for just a second. Stick with me. This is going somewhere. Hunter Biden. Now, if you follow the show, if you're a longtime member of the show, you understand. I explained what Hunter Biden does for a living. He works for a consulting firm. He is a consultant. His consulting firm specializes in helping companies with troubled backgrounds and from troubled areas make the conversion to Western style business so that they can start doing business in the West, so that they can secure financing in the West. This is what he does for a living. And he was hired by a company called Burisma. You remember that, as a Ukrainian energy company. Burisma was old Soviet. They, had a lot of corruption issues. In order to do business in the West, they had to clean house. They did. They had to clean up their act. They had to start having the kind of accountability that Western banks require, Western governments require. How do you get from there to there? Well, you hire Hunter Biden. And he comes in with his team and he looks at your company. He says, okay, this is a problem area. This is a problem area. This is a problem area. And this is what we need to do about it. And they said, well, look, we're going to need some constant guidance. Would you mind sitting on our board? He's like, sure, no problem. Not a really high pay. It's a couple $100,000. I mean, it's not a super high paying gig, but it's part of the consulting service he offers. He specializes in this. This is what he does professionally. This is what he does. And you remember Republicans were like, oh, that's graft. That's the vice president's kid. He's just making money off his daddy. And he's no. This is literally what the man did for a living. He's good at it. The companies he works for successfully make that transition so that they can do business in the West. Well, you keep that in mind, okay? Just put a pin in that as we move on with this story, okay? Now, before we get to the story, you've got to be made aware of something that exists. And that's this. Back in 2022, we identified a problem. We make some of the best, most advanced weapons in the world. And we're not Russia. We're not China. I've talked about this before. They come up with some really neat stuff, but it's never really good. Why? Because you can come up with a concept for a weapon, you can design a weapon, and you can build a weapon, but it is going to be a piece of crap when it hits the battlefield because it's not tested. It's not real world. It's a long trip from the drawing board to the battlefield. We're really good at that last part. We're really good at biting the financial loss that it takes to go from being a concept weapon system to a fully functional, holy shit, I can't believe we can build this kind of thing weapon system. We really are good at that. That's why we are head and shoulders. We don't sweat Russia. We don't. Russia's like, well, we can build that. Look at this amazing technology. Look at the S-400. And we're like, no. China's like, take a look at our Generation 6 fighter. And we're like, yeah, you built 5 of them and 4 of them don't fly. And the one that does fly is a piece of shit. I mean, we don't stress about that because we do things like build the F-35 that is hugely expensive, and then we use it and we find out where it's fucked up when we built it, pardon the language, and we fix that. We eat that financially. We spend more than the next 26 countries combined. Most of them are allies. This is where we spend the money, right? That next step. Russia doesn't do that. China doesn't do that. That's why we don't sweat them militarily. We really don't. We really don't sweat them militarily because our systems work. We just do. And we're not the only ones. Europe, the Leopard tank system is amazing. Amazing. Battle tested, field tested. Just incredible. The stuff that Western countries build is just, you get where I'm going with this, right? Well, we figured out under the Biden administration, hey, China's got us by the shorties. A lot of the materials we need to build these really high-end systems and make them function, they're all controlled by China. If not the material itself, well, the processing of the material is all done in China. And they are a geopolitical adversary. And that's a problem. That's a problem. So back in 2022, Joe Biden came up with a system. They created the office. Lloyd Austin ushered this into existence, the U.S. Department of War of Strategic Capital. Now, the interesting thing about this, I want you to know, this does not have a budget. There is no budget. There's no for this place. They just fall under the Defense Department's umbrella. They can spend as much through there as they want. Now, they didn't, and it was always focused on strategic development, and it was a real thing, folks, with a real purpose, and it was a good thing when it came to be. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. So let's talk about Pete Hegseth and the guy that now runs that. Now, I'm telling you right now, any other Secretary of Defense, now Secretary of War, would have already had to tender their resignation. Let's just look at some of the greatest hits. Some of the greatest hits. First of all, they jettisoned 2 very expensive planes in 1 week in one very embarrassing military operation into the sea. Talking about tens of millions of military hardware just went. One went out the hangar bay out the side of a boat, and one went off the deck. That in itself, that kind of embarrassment is the kind of thing that might have caused a Secretary of Defense to have to step down. What the hell is going on with the Navy? I mean, this is the kind of thing that gets you in trouble. Wendy Bauman, thank you for being here. God, I'm loving to see all you new people. I think Pete is playing a video game with our military. He needs to get unplugged. He does, but he's not going to. And you're going to, I always, I tell you, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. This is why Pete Hegseth ain't going anywhere. Then we had Signalgate. We had Signalgate. And I told you, this is it's a free frickin' app. He had equipment installed in the Pentagon to allow him to use this app. He circumvented their security. The watchdog report that just came out said, yeah, he put troops in danger. He was sharing sensitive information. They declassified information that they in no way would have normally declassified just to keep it from being he was exposing classified information. This report is hugely damning. They're trying to spin it as a win because they took steps to mitigate it. By the way, that investigation, Pete Hegseth refused to speak with the investigator. That in and of itself would have been enough for any of his predecessors to be shown the door. He refused to cooperate with a Pentagon IG and investigation. That in and of itself, not just the actions of Signalgate, which would have been enough for him to be out the door. The refusal to participate in the investigation would have been enough for him to be out the door. Agent Cajun John, I'd be more afraid of China than Russia easily. True, very true. Both technologically, logistically, the manpower, you're spot on there, sir. Marcia Klepper, happy Friday. Yes, we have made it to another Friday. Thank you for always being here, Marcia. Then we had this humiliation. Turns out Pete can't go anywhere without his mommy. By mommy, I mean his wife. Third wife. The one he cheated on his second wife with. Anyways, you've heard the story. You know, this is no family man. Cheated on every wife that he's ever had. I would bet he's probably cheated on her. If I had to speculate, I would say he's probably cheating on her right now. But he drags her around to high level meetings. She's got no background, no clearance, no nothing. She's in congressional meetings, she's in Pentagon meetings, and everybody's like, "What the hell?" She's in meetings with his counterparts from other nations. I mean, he had to sit down with his counterpart from France, his counterpart from the UK. Mommy's there all the time. What the hell? That in and of itself would be enough that any of his predecessors would have been shown the door, would be out of a job. But Trump's not letting him go. Why not? Why would you take and keep somebody on board that is just one embarrassment after another embarrassment after another embarrassment, another embarrassment, and tomorrow he'll be another embarrassment? Mike Daly, the Dim. Morning, Paul. Hope you enjoy your coffee despite Coakley Trump Jr.'s 1 billion profit. You see, I love you people. You know where we're going. You know where we're going. Then, of course, we've got what's going on right now with the boats. And the reason I am not talking about the boats today is they really are stepping on their own stories. Real Pentagon, I'm telling you, real Pentagon journalists with real connections and relationships have been documenting what they've been saying about this from the beginning, and everything they're saying today conflicts with everything they have said in the past. And you're going to see really good, talented journalists that are going to break this down. They are on it. They are on it. And one of the reasons they are on it is they are pissed because people like Looney Laura Loomer has an office in the Pentagon, but real journalistic outlets do not. Their offices have been shut down. They are pissed. They are pissed. This is not going away. So yeah, as this develops and I can give you more detailed information on the boats, we'll talk more about the boats. But right now we're having people that are seeing and are fighting to get that video released so that you can see exactly what this was. And folks, I just want to leave that issue with this point. Right now they're trying to muddy the waters about the second missile. Steve Ward, 8331, saw your segment on tantalum in Venezuela and got curious. The two largest tantalum mines are in Rwanda and DRC. Trump just had the presidents of these countries agree to a deal to the U.S. Coincidence? Not. I love you people so much for being involved, so informed and plugged in. Yes. Remind me to circle back around to this because I've got several other examples and I will lose track of what I'm saying. But yes, that just happened, folks. That just happened. So yeah, we're going to dig into this and it is going to be, it's ugly. It is ugly. You have people that are watching these videos that are coming out saying, this is not who we are. This is not who we are. This is not who we are. And a lot of focus is being, you're talking about military officers that are retired, that are speaking out, whereas military officers who are not retired can't. They're speaking out for them. And they're saying, this is not who our military is. Our military cannot afford to lose this kind of credibility. These idiots should not be in charge of our military. They do not understand the importance of this institution and its credibility. There's a lot to this. But one of the things that is really, really, really bothering me about this The right is trying so desperately to muddy the waters over this. What did Pete Hegseth say? When did he say it? Are they drug boats and this, that, and the other? Folks, the second shot was in and of itself a war crime. It was murder. It was murder. You had people, they're trying to muddy the waters and say they were trying to radio their friends to continue the drug, which is just going to fall apart. It's just going to fall apart. You're telling me a small craft hit with a Hellfire missile, they were trying to continue their drug mission? Really? As though they were a destroyer that had been in a sea battle and was trying to steam away? This is the rhetoric they're trying to use to muddy the waters. No, these were two guys floating in the water, clinging to wreckage for dear life, trying to survive. No, they were not trying to continue their drug mission. They were trying to survive. But folks, what's being lost in this? Everybody's focusing on that second shot, as well they should, because it really is an opening. It is one of, I keep telling you, narratives are everything. You will see a video of those two people being murdered. You will. And it'll be horrific, and it will be enough for even the lay people. I keep telling you, we talk amongst ourselves, but there are people out there that are not us. They're not informed. They're not plugged in. They will look at that and they'll go, So they're really focusing on that, folks. But what's killing me for you and me, people that can understand that, what is frustrating the shit out of me is the first shot was murder. The first missile to hit that boat was murder. And every other subsequent boat they have blown up has been murder. This is why you do not involve the military in policing. This is policing. This is not a war. This is policing. This is why you don't let an imbecile like Pete Hegseth run the Department of War, because he cannot possibly understand. He's too unqualified to understand what it means to involve the military in policing and what negative things come from that. He's too busy being an online shit poster to think big picture. The first Hellfire missile to hit that boat was murder, much less the second. Folks, even if you are as gracious as you can be and you say, okay, yeah, it was a drug boat, which we haven't really nailed that down yet. But even if you say, yes, it was a drug boat, that is not a capital offense. There is nothing in our law that allows the government to kill someone for doing what they were doing. They have to be attacking you, as in violently firing on you, for our government to be able to defend itself and do something like this. U.S. Coast Guard boats pull up next to these boats all the time, and they issue them a warning. Do nothing aggressive. Follow our commands or we will fire on you. Because that, folks, is policing. When you start involving the Navy and the Marines and the SEALs, this is what you get. This is what you get. Julie Snow, 8681, Texas Paul. I'm pretty new here. God bless you for what you're doing. God bless you for being here, because we're doing it. You're going to see we are a community, man. And folks, I'm telling you, if you're watching this on replay, you've got to get that chat panel open. The conversations is going on. Aiden, Cage, and John, thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate you, man. You're always here with the big support. I frankly, brother, I don't know how you do it, man. Julia Simpson, 1759. Sorry, I couldn't give more, but I'm elderly and disabled on a fixed income. I want to be able to buy my children a Christmas gift. Julia, never hurt yourself financially. Never, ever, ever. We are just glad you are here and part of the community because getting the message out is the most important thing. I'm truly grateful for all the support that allows me to do this full time. But folks, it ain't about the money. It's not. Stacy, 3107, weird question. Does this make the Trump regime serial killers or mass murderers? Is there a difference? Yeah. That's what I'm telling you, folks. That's why you don't involve the military in policing. Fairy dust, 22002. Hi, Texas Paul. I've heard DOJ is threatening to execute Antifa. Is this true? Has me shook. They're right wing shit posters. So, of course, they're posting shit online that is bullshit. But you have to look at what they can actually do. Look at what happened to Letitia James and James Comey. People that can actually stand up, that understand the law. It fails. James Comey will never be indicted again. He's beyond the statute of limitations. They tried to indict Letitia James again, and she humiliated them. Do you know how hard you have to work to get a no bail? You remember that expression, you can indict a ham sandwich? Yeah. The grand jury just said, nope. They took a look at what the government had to offer with Letitia James and said, nope, we're not even going to let you hold a trial on this one. These are imbeciles. These are imbeciles. Joan Prim, does the Coast Guard itself have a arrest power? I really do. Yes, they do. They do it. They have it by statute. They do. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. The right people doing the job. Any other Secretary of Defense would have been out on his ass by now. Why isn't he? Why is he still here? All right, put a pin in that question. Put a pin in that. Now, you remember last week we were talking about Venezuela and coltan, which is where we get tantalum, a rare earth metal. And we talked about the fact that it goes back, no matter what, it's going to end up going back to China. I kept telling people, I explained why it's not about oil. We can't use the heavy crude that comes out of Venezuela. There's huge amounts of investments that are going to have to go into to reviving their oil industry to even get oil out of it. This is not about the oil. Christopher Daly, thank you for being here. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. We talked about that. We talked about what it was really about. We talked about the fight that they've already got going on. That the smuggling networks that smuggle illicit drugs, well, it's just natural for them to move into smuggling rare earth minerals. And those rare earth minerals aren't going up people's noses in Miami. They're going to corporations that want them, that need them. And this ties back into our military and the investment fund that was set up, the Pentagon Official Strategic Capital Fund. The fact that we just saw exactly what you're talking about with Rwanda, one of the largest supplies of blue gold out there. And it's not the only mineral, folks. It's not. So let me tell you what's just happened. Just happened. Okay. Go back and look at the tariffs. Go back and look at the tariffs. Tariffs is all, super bad guy on China. China said, fine, we won't sell you any rare earth metals. Now, the story that came out of the corporate media was, oh, well, Trump is being responsible. Our military needs those rare earth metals. The best possible spin you could put on this. And, the economy's sputtering. He doesn't want to admit it, but he knows it. So he's doing the right thing, and he's lowering those tariffs on China so we can get the rare earth metals flowing. And it's about the economy and yada, yada, yada. And it is not about the economy. And it is not about the military getting their hands. Well, it is about the military getting their hands on rare earth metals, but not like you think. And it is not just centered around China or Venezuela. It's not, as a member of our audience so gleefully, rightly pointed out, this peace deal that he just cooked up has everything to do with coltan, the ore, they call it blue gold that we extract tantalum from, and tantalum is huge. It's in jet engines, it's in high-end glass, it's in electronics, it's everywhere. It's everywhere crucial to our military establishment. Rock and Ron, aka Ron Slater. I hate the way Kegsbreath acts so indignant under threat of accountability while throwing his subordinates under the bus. Yeah, he is a jerk. And the more people show that, the better. The better. And again, I'm going to tell you folks, I'm in no way suicidal and I'm engaged in absolutely no criminal activities. So if something major happens to me, I'm telling you, this is a big deal. This is going to blow up everywhere because this is huge. It is not just Venezuela. It is not just Africa. Trump has been fighting to secure deals for rare earth minerals all over the globe. All over the globe. And our corporate media is fawning over him for it. Oh, how responsible that the president is trying to ensure that our supply for our corporations, our industries, our defense industry, our tech industry, he is trying to secure that for the future of our country. Man, I tell you what, you would have thought that just if you read these articles, they fillet the guy. Which U.S. companies depend most on tantalum? Apple, Intel, NVIDIA, all at dinner with Trump, getting subsidies, screwing the taxpayer. This is incredibly important to the tech industry. It is. Jason Crow, love your show. You really do help people keep people informed on a wide variety of issues. Also, since you often say you like to pronounce names correctly, my last name rhymes with Crew. Happy holiday. Jason Crew, gotcha, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I cannot tell you, everybody's got their little Sheldon Cooper thing. They do. Everybody's got their little Sheldon Cooper thing. I am intensely embarrassed. I don't know what it is. It's something in me when I mispronounce somebody's. I feel like I'm disrespecting you when I do that. Thank you. You people that tell me how to pronounce those names, God love you, man. Tiger Butterfly, it was reported yesterday that it was 4 strikes. There have been so many freaking strikes. You don't know. I think they're up to 8 different boats that they've blown up. Let me introduce you to Vulcan Elements. Vulcan Elements just secured super sweet loans from the Pentagon Office of Strategic Capital. One of the largest it's ever issued. And these loans that come out of this office, they are about the sweetest. The loans and the loans guarantees are about the sweetest deals you can ever get as a corporation. Corporate funding can get quite expensive. It really can. Corporate financing can get quite expensive. These loans, they're as close to free as it gets. They are as close to interest free as it gets. This office loans money out at the same rate it can borrow it, the overnight rate that it can borrow it from the United States government. You're talking about at treasury rates, these loans are going out. I cannot stress to you just how much these loans mean to a company like Vulcan. And Vulcan is neck deep into rare earth minerals. This is what they do. This company just spun up into existence. Who finances and who backs Vulcan? Who owns Vulcan, basically, because of the financing? A company called 1789 Capital. 1789 Capital. Now, there isn't much to the website for 1789 Capital. That's it. But there's this button over here that says Team. So let's click on that. Uh-oh. Who's a partner in 1789 Capital? Who's on the board of Vulcan? This guy right here. Don Trump Jr. All right. Let's pause for just a second before we go any farther with this, and let's go back and talk about Hunter Biden and Burisma. Hunter Biden was working with Burisma to do a job that he actually professionally does for a living. He consults with corporations that have troubled histories, whether it be African corporations with ties to criminal organizations, whether it be Eastern Bloc countries with former ties to the Soviets, whether it be whatever your problem is, Hunter Biden comes in, takes a look at your company top to bottom and says, look, this is all the shit we have to fix, or you will not be able to do business in the Western sphere. Once they fix that shit, Hunter Biden helps get you financing. It's a real fucking job he does for his money. What does this asshole do for 1789 Capital? What does this asshole do for Vulcan? Other than being the president's son. Now, this page, we cannot go through this whole page. This is a very troubling page. You see a founder and CEO, Christopher Buskirk of 1789 Capital. We're going to talk about him a little bit, and then we're going to talk about Rebecca Mercer, who is also a founder. There are stories. We could do a whole show on just 1789 Capital and not get it done. We would have to do multiple shows. But I want to focus in on just a couple of them right now. Christopher Buskirk. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Well, Christopher Buskirk is this guy. He is this guy. He worked at an organization founded by J.D. Vance called Rockbridge. And who's the guy that's on the right with J.D. Vance here? This is a Rockbridge photo. Rockbridge started out as one of those kind of think tanky things that morphed into, you guessed it, private equity. This is J.D. Vance's birth of his private equity firm. See the guy on the right, that's Buskirk. See the guy on the left, that's Don Jr. Now, they have openly said their job is to reshape how the government spends money. Yeah, they say that out loud. I mean, that's private. That they say that out loud. And Christopher Buskirk is in the center of all of it. Now, see, 1789, it gets its beginnings from Rockbridge, from J.D. Vance and Chris Buskirk, who are now running 1789, who are now securing hundreds of millions of dollars, are investing in companies like Vulcan. They are Vulcan, basically. They're investing in these companies that are now securing hundreds of millions of dollars from the government, just like they said they were going to do. Are you following me here? Are you following these connections that are happening? Rockbridge, which was a collection of mega donors like Rebecca Mercer and the Mercer family. Rebecca Mercer is a massive Republican super donor. I've told you over and over and over again. They don't donate for no reason. This is where they get paid on the back end for all those free checks that fund the GOP. All that dark money that the Supreme Court keeps making sure flows into the GOP. This is how they get paid. J.D. Vance forms Rockbridge. Rockbridge morphs into a private equity company. That private equity company spawns off 1789. The president's son is brought in to 1789. It is formed by Rebecca Mercer and these people that are just the Republican mega donors. And next thing you know, they're taking hundreds of millions of dollars out of our government and funneling it through a company that is making someone with the last name Trump a lot of money. Is this all starting to make more sense now? Is what's going on in Central Africa with Trump's peace deals not making more sense now? The rare earth metals that are there, Venezuela and the blue gold there. Hell, if you look at it through that lens, even this makes more sense. Everybody was scratching their head. Why the hell is he doing this? Well, this is insane. This is insane. He's threatening Greenland militarily. He's sending operatives into Greenland to try to influence their local elections to get Greenland to say, hey, we want to be part of the United States of America and under their control. Because right now, Greenland and all of its rare earth minerals are not going to be easily accessed by the United States because it's currently controlled by the oligarchs in Europe, who are 100% have a fire lit under their ass, and they are just screaming into Greenland right now to make sure they've got those contracts in place, to make sure they've got the infrastructure in place. Folks, I want to pause this for 1 second just to remind you of something. You remember the Opal Lightning? And I brought up GM and I brought up Ford and Henry Ford and the things that they were doing business with, just to highlight the fact that even in the most horrific wars where you think you've got a good beat on right and wrong, the oligarchs behind the scenes are doing business. That's the whole Neville Chamberlain thing. I've talked about it with Ukraine. I've talked about it with how these people are sitting behind the scenes doing business while they're selling you a big shit sandwich. It's a steaming pile of bullshit that they're feeding you. Drug boats in Venezuela. That's why our military's got to go in. No, that's not why they got to go in. They're going to go in to secure the coltan. We got to have a peace deal in Rwanda, which we're suddenly going to have a military presence there. It's about moving the minerals, folks. It's about moving the minerals. Canada needs to be the 51st state. It's about the minerals. People are like, oh, it's the oil. We got the oil already, folks. They ship it through us. It ain't the oil. It's the minerals. There's a lot of these rare earth minerals that are, folks, I need to stress to you, I need you to understand the differences in wealth. Okay, there's wealth. There's a guy that opens up a business, a restaurant, and he does well for himself and he can send his kid to college. That man is wealthy. Then there is another level. There's the guy that opens up a chain of restaurants and he does well for himself. That guy is wealthy. Then there's the guy that opens up a chain of restaurants and then he sells it to a private equity firm or a big corporation like Yum and makes billions of dollars, and that guy's wealthy at another level. We're moving up the level. Then there are the guys that run corporations that do stuff like this, and they're wealthy even at another level. You're talking about Scott Bessent level at this point. Talking about Mitt Romney level at this point. But they're not the biggest players in the room. They're not. If you can control a natural resource, folks, you are Exxon Mobil level money. Do you follow me here? What they are doing here and why Trump will never fire Pete Hegseth is that Trump is using our Pentagon to put the Trump family into that tier of wealth. And Rebecca Mercer and the mega donors want to be on that ride. And the tech executives who are not on that level, because they're at the, they're like, well, they're the richest people in the world on paper, but they don't control everything they need to do their business. That's controlled by the people that control the resources. Those are the people that have real wealth. And I don't mean an equity. I don't mean a stock that tells Elon Musk he's the richest guy in the world. I mean your fucking bank account. You can buy countries. That level of wealth. Basic now, Pete, worst news, SPOC overruling Texas court decision. Yeah, the Supreme Court decided they could go with the gerrymandering map. I'm not stressing about that, folks, because that map is shit. That map opens us up to picking up 5 seats that they thought they were going to dilute Democratic votes, and what they ended up doing was diluting Republican votes. We are in this fight, folks. That's a whole nother story for another day. I'll break it down county by county. But yeah, I'm not stressing about this new map. I'm not. It's a shitty move, and we Democrats are going to counter it. We are. The Supreme Court has just laid down the precedent where we can do this willy-nilly just because that's what they said. Texas can do this just because they want to. Well, that means every Democratic state can do it, but just because they want to. This was stupid on their part. This was really stupid on their part. They were banking on that we won't do it. And I've been spending my entire career making this happen, making sure that we are on the low road with them. People need to realize that one of the distractions that these people are using is oil and other things to hide not only what, but whom is behind it. Exactly. Because it doesn't just end there. It doesn't just end here. I realized the story today, but this is why I say it's going to grow into one of the biggest financial scandals the Pentagon has ever had. I know we're talking about this today, this part of it today, but it is much bigger. It is much bigger because there are bigger fish than what you're seeing with J.D. Vance and Chris Buskirk and even Rebecca Mercer that are behind this. Sherry Garnizo, happy birthday, Texas Paul. We all know Diaper Donnie is not smart enough to research all these minerals on his own. Who do you think is really pulling the strings? Great question. Great question. Yeah, this is a big deal, okay? This is a big deal. And there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, a lot to unpack here with all of these people. Omid Malik, Christopher Buskirk, Don Jr., Rebecca Mercer. I mean, and these connections to MBS and different people across the world. Yeah, there are a lot of relationships to unpack here and what's going on. But you need to understand that there's an even bigger fish that is behind this. There is. They're the OG South African PayPal mafia. See, the guy behind the scenes that's fronting the cash, that's really giving the direction, some of the people that are involved in the formation of this come directly out of Peter Thiel's shop. And if y'all don't remember who Peter Thiel is, Peter Thiel is directly responsible for J.D. Vance's senatorial rise. I mean, he was nobody, and all of a sudden he's a senator because he had massive, massive, massive backing from Peter Thiel. And remember, J.D. Vance is Rockbridge, which is 1789, which is Vulcan. But Peter Thiel also got Trump elected. And he's also the founder of Palantir. Dragons Aurora Midas, love and light will hide you, Oregon Forest. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. But yeah, Peter Thiel is a huge investor in 1789. He's part of the seed money behind it. He's behind Rockbridge. And yeah, we're paying him to do it. We are making him fabulously wealthy through the Pentagon. We are making him fabulously wealthy. And we're about to have a war, folks. We really are. This isn't going to be peaceful. Maduro's sitting on this money. They're not going to make a deal with Maduro. They're going to kill him. They're going to use us to do it. They're going to do it under the guise of freedom and fighting drugs and patriotism. But no, that's not what it's about. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. It's about billions of dollars of your tax money going into corporations to go to that next level where they are controlling the very resources that are needed for you to have every device you'll ever want to use in the future in our new digital economy. They will control the very first step of where those devices come from, not just the manufacturing. So that's why I say the tech bros, they think that they're somehow masters of the universe. No, Apple can't do shit without rare earth minerals. And Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth are all making sure that the Rockbridge Group / 1789 Group / Vulcan / Don Jr., which is, we all know what Don Jr. is. We all know what he is. He's the placeholder for Trump. They're moving the Trump family into that top tier of wealth and control and power. The people whose names you never heard of, the people that guys like Jamie Dimon and I mean, just these are the kind of people that like Rex Tillerson. These are the people that only he knows their names. They're moving into that level, and they're doing it right in front of you. So don't fall for the bullshit. Don't. This isn't about drugs. This isn't about drugs. This isn't about being the good guys. This isn't about any of that. Any of that. It's about wealth and who controls it for the next century. It's about battles between European oligarchs and Western, American oligarchs, and who's going to control what. Yeah. These rare earth minerals exist in Australia too. And folks from our Australian audience, I hate to tell you this, but our oligarchs have been infecting your politics forever. A lot of people like to think it's the Australians that affect our politics, because of Fox and Murdoch and all. No, it's actually the other way around. I know it sounds like a movie, right? Sounds like a movie. It's not. It's not. Follow the money. And when you shine a light on this, you are truly in danger, my friend. Warbin 3, Paul, thanks for making us smarter and more aware of the crooked shit that these people are up to. That's my job. That's what you pay me to do. But folks, I want to make something clear. It's just like we talked about the coltan in Venezuela. It doesn't matter if you control the ore. What matters is controlling the final product. And we talked about where you can refine tantalum. Where can you refine germanium? Where can you refine all of these rare earth minerals that are so incredibly important that we need, because we've moved into an AI digital existence. These people think that they're going to be the masters of the universe. They aren't. Do you know who controls the final flow of these minerals? Who the ultimate winner is? Who is guaranteed to get paid? 100% will have control, will have power, will have say in the future. Who is the ultimate winner of these games? So, yeah, I need you to know this when they do end up starting a war over rare earth minerals. If they do invade Venezuela, your soldiers are fighting and dying for she. In the end, it all boils down to that. General Bradley and this nonsense that they're this farce that they're playing about drug boats and committing murder and fracturing the institution that is the United States Department of War. That's all to this end, folks. That's all to sell a narrative. And that's how I want to wrap this up with you, folks, is to remind you of how critically important the narratives are. They're huge. They're everything. Folks, you are not like everyone else. Both sidism drives me up the freaking wall. It really does. We are not the same. Democrats and Republicans are not the same. Democrats have values. Republicans are, I don't even know a word low enough to describe them. I don't. We're not the same. You and I having this discussion, you need to be keenly aware most Americans can't. They cannot put these dots together. They cannot make their brain function at a high enough level to actually look at the big picture of this. They can't. They can't look at what's going on in Venezuela and see that is Trump losing in Greenland and trying to make sure that he doesn't lose again and gets control of these minerals. Because the European oligarchs moved in and took took control of what was coming out of Greenland. They are definitely not going to lose that fight again. They can't big picture this. They can't. All they can see is they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats and whatever base bullshit that they push forward into MAGA at the time to tell them, oh, you're better than these people. You're special. You're special. That's all they can do. That's all they can see. Yeah, we don't like them people around here. Try that in a small town. Like Uvalde? I mean, that fiction. That's all they care about. They don't have the mental power to look at the big picture and see, oh, we sat there and screamed for years about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden got a job doing what he does for a living professionally, so it must be crooked because Democrats making some money. Must be crooked. They won't have the mental capacity to go from that to, holy shit, Don Jr. sits on the board of a vulture capital firm that is openly talking about investing politically and controlling things politically and moving investments to Republican-owned firms to control basic materials that are the real reason why we're going to go into Venezuela. They can't get there. Even watching this show, they will find a reason to pull the ejection seat before they get there. They just can't. They just can't, because if they get from there to here, then they're not special little people anymore. They're not good Christians that are saving the country. They're suckers. They're suckers that are being used so that Trump can go from being a broke-ass, in-debt, bankrupted fool, reality television show fool, to his family actually having not just generational wealth, but top-tier, affect the world, master of the universe wealth for generations. They can't put it together. They can't. That's why I do what I do. That's why I spend the time I spend looking at this stuff and bringing it to you, because you can look at this and you can say, well, the first thing you'll do is you'll Google it to fact check me. And I fucking love you for that. I really do love you that y'all keep me honest. If I misspeak, you folks, again, if you're watching this on replay, you've got to have there's a button down there if you're on PC called panel. If you're on a mobile device, there's a way to swipe and bring the chat up. If I misspeak, they will correct me real time. Bam, that fast. I need you to understand. I need you to understand. You're not the same people. And with that comes responsibility. You've got to big picture things politically. You can't fall into the cause of the day. You can't sell, you can't, I don't even know why. And I'm going to talk about this. I have a rule: never speak ill of a Democrat. And I'm going to break the 11th commandment today. I'm going to point out somewhere that a Democrat screwed up. And I'm going to point out why. The reason I'm going to point it out is just to show that you can't lose the big picture over something stupid that somebody does. Mr. Newton, thank you for being here, brother. God of cheese and potatoes compel you to give all your money to his priests. You will be saved or you will suffer forever. Ain't that the truth, brother? Ain't that the truth? Susan Sprout, thank you for being here. This whole Christian nationalism thing is just about controlling enough power to allow them to do stuff like this. But folks, look, Hakeem Jeffries came out and did the stupidest thing. He actually made a statement about Cuellar, about here. Let me show you. 1 second. Let me see if I can get this to. There we go. This is Huffington Post, but it's out on several platforms. One second. All right. So Trump does one of the stupidest and sleazy things he can do. He does. He does something stupid and sleazy. He pardons Henry Cuellar because he's been pardoning all these sleazy people. All we Democrats had to do was say, look, Cuellar's like Andrew Cuomo. He's damaged goods and he doesn't represent us. That's it. He's not one of us. He's out. That's all they had to do. Or nothing. They just didn't have to comment because that shit is on Donald Trump. Democrats did not do this. Democrats didn't pardon Henry Cuellar. They didn't. Donald Trump did. He's responsible for it. But in a move of galactic stupidity, and yes, I'm going to break the 11th commandment here. Hakeem, I don't care if you think that the case against Henry Cuellar was kind of light and you think that he got a raw deal. He was convicted. He's a convict. That means he did it. You shut the fuck up about things like that. That advice is free, Hakeem. That advice is free. Never do anything like that again, ever. But this is where I'm telling you, you have to be ride or die Democrats. That was fucking stupid. It's inconsequential. It's meaningless. Hakeem Jeffries didn't pardon Henry Cuellar. He just was stupid enough to say something so that he gets stained by it. Now, look, your average dummy MAGA person, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. But that's going to bother you. It is. And Republicans know that, and they know the psychology of it. The Russians know that. They know how to get their fingernails dug into those cracks. They do. They know we're not MAGA. They know that we actually care about shit like that. And they will use it. So it's your job to stay above it, to actually look at what's important. Hakeem Jeffries saying something stupid about that isn't important. It's not. It's fucking stupid. The right answer was the answer I gave. He's just like Andrew Cuomo. He's out. He's not one of us. He's a crook. I don't want anything to do with Henry Cuellar. That was the right answer. Again, that's another free one, Hakeem. That one's free. But we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't end the only movement that has any fucking decency to it. Anything that, the government that we believed used to exist that had, there were consequences for shit that they did. The only way we get there, LGBTQ plus rights and all of that, the only way we get there is through the Democratic Party. And right now, Hakeem Jeffries will be the next Speaker of the House. He may be the next Speaker of the House in a matter of weeks. And I'm going to say this is going to piss a lot of people off. AOC said and did some really stupid shit when she first became a congressperson. And now she's pretty fucking sharp, man. Her instincts are becoming very finely honed. She is impressive. But she did some stupid shit. We've kind of got the inverse of Hakeem Jeffries. He started out really freaking sharp, and now he's doing some really stupid shit. It's our job to get him back on track. It's not our job to destroy the Democratic Party. No, we've got a job in front of us. We're going to have to take Hakeem Jeffries by the hand and say, back on track, buddy. Back on focusing on what's important. Stop saying stupid shit like this. Stop doing stupid shit like this. It's our job because we're not the dummies. We're not the stupids. We're not the people that can't process. We're not the people with the ability to understand these big picture items comes this responsibility. It's on you. Not just me. We're a community here. It's on you to make these phone calls, but make the phone calls right. Get these people on track. I got a guest coming here on the 17th. Don, I'm telling you, you're going to love him. Congressman Beyer is going to be here. He's one of the smartest people. I swear to God, there are hundreds of Democrats out there that you don't know. You don't know anything about. You don't know what they're doing. Julie Johnson just released, just proposed, just put a bill out that is hugely important. We're going to talk about that on Sunday. We're going to talk about her bill on Sunday. There are Democrats out there doing amazing freaking things, amazing things. And we're going to talk about them. But for God's sake, help me keep the ones that it's like herding cats, man. It's like herding cats. It's our responsibility to keep these people on track. Jan B95 says, I became ride or die after happened upon a Tea Party rally years ago. Scary stuff, but I did not imagine it would turn into MAGA madness. It is who they are, which is why we must do what we do, why we've got to hold our nose. It would be so nice to be able to just say, screw this, I'm out. Imagine being me and the effort I put in, the amount of time I put in on messaging and keeping things moving in the right direction, and then I see something like that happen. But I will keep at it. I will keep at it. I will keep our leadership moving in the right direction. You have Chuck Schumer on social media saying the word fuck almost on the daily. I'm serious. Follow his accounts. He is out there talking on issues, exactly saying the things that you want him to say. He's had a come to Jesus meeting, and he's not even running for leadership after the next election. I'm telling you, we're getting through. And the reason we're getting through, and this is the last thing I want to leave you with. This is the last thing I want to leave you with. I want to share this with you. This is my Threads profile. Okay. I want to go through here. There is so much trollery going on. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. How do you pronounce Perucker? 9001. Ouch, Paul. The truth hurts. Keep up the good work. It does, man. It does. And I do want to take a shout out to Marty and Dave for the Kittytown coffee and the mugs. That was fantastic. And Mrs. Texas Paul was so happy that pumpkin spice didn't show up. You know, we've got this thing in the house. I love pumpkin spice dearly. It is one of my favorite things in the world. She hates it with the intensity of 1,000 white hot suns. So she opened up that box, Marty and Dave, and the butternut was in there, and she was like, oh, thank God. So I'm truly grateful. I'm truly grateful. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm truly grateful. I'm truly grateful. That was very generous of you. And I love the mugs. I really do love the Kittytown mugs. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. But I want to share with you, this is my feed over on Threads. There is a thing that you can do on the mobile apps. I can't really do this on the desktop. But if you go and you click on my name on the mobile app, okay, you've got to be mobile to do this. This won't work on the desktop. Click on my name and it'll bring this page up, right? Then if you click again, see, I can't click on anything here. On the mobile app, you can. You just click on my name and it will give you background information about me, including my country of origin. It'll tell you when I got on the level. It'll even tell you that I changed my handle on Instagram once. Yeah, that information is there. You will see that if you look and you find the trolls, that data is not there. They hide that information from the platform. The porn bots do that too. I had to laugh. The porn bots show up on they call them the OnlyFans accounts. Yeah, one of them showed up. It was Jessica from Ohio. When I did that, she was from Nigeria. That account was from Nigeria. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, and you will see overwhelmingly that information is hidden on all the MAGA trolls because they do not want you to see the country of origin. So again, where am I going with this? You're real. I block those accounts. Even the ones that follow me, I block them. Other content creators on the left do not block those MAGA accounts because it counts towards their total, and that's what they care about because they think that makes them look important. Folks, I've blocked hundreds of thousands of these accounts. Every post I put up, I do what's called troll patrol. The bots will automatically respond. I go into them and you will see that most of my posts, they're pretty clean. There might be a few that get through because I can't do it. It takes a long time. It takes a very long time to do troll patrol. But I'll put a post up. The bots will show up. I will block that account. So I don't have those people as followers. You're real. And believe me, the people in Washington know it because they know the difference between fake support and real support. You vote. If I say, hey, call Hakeem Jeffries and tell him, love you, Hakeem, ride or die Democrat here. Never say stupid shit like that, like you said about Henry Cuellar again. Thank you. Bye-bye. Huge numbers of you will make that phone call because you're real people. That equates to power. Bots don't vote. You do. That's where the strength of our community comes in. That's where the strength of our community comes in. Stephanie, thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you for calling out Hakeem Jeffries. I know you don't like to, but it's greatly appreciated from a loyal listener. Look, I believe in the 11th commandment. I don't believe in pissing on the Democratic Party over one issue here or one issue there, or they're not doing well enough on this issue. I believe in getting involved with the Democratic Party and make them do better on that issue. You saw me 100% supporting Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, 100% from the get-go. I could have had a case of sore ass about shit he did in prior elections that pissed me off as a Democrat. I could have done that, but it would have been stupid. Look at the momentum that we have. Look at the excitement that he brings into the party. I also, once he got elected, immediately shifted my message on Zoran Mamdani. I did. And that message shifted to, you got to be ride or die. He's fighting an uphill battle on a lot of things he wants to do. And if he doesn't get there 100%, you still got to support him. He's going to try. He's not going to win every fight. When he doesn't win, you got to be there. That's what it's about. And folks, I'm going to sum this up. I'm going to stop beating this dead horse. You are different. You're different than a lot of followers from a lot of other left-leaning commentators. You are. There's a lot of people on other platforms from people that I like that are not sophisticated people. They're not. They can't sit through a show like this. You are on another level, which comes with responsibility. That means keeping the messaging going. That means taking something like Hakeem Jeffries, and this is the last time I'm going to say this for a long time, so enjoy it. Hakeem Jeffries being a complete fucking idiot about Henry Cuellar. And it's your job to grab Hakeem Jeffries by the hand and say, no, 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 no. Okay, you're my guy. You're going to be the next speaker. We can't do stupid shit like that. I don't give a shit if you think you got a raw deal. Don't ever fucking say that again. Ever. Ever. And that's got to come from people like you. It does. Because most people out there are just going to have an emotional reaction. The same emotional reaction I had when I saw that. I was like, ah! You know, I mean, tell me that didn't piss you off when you saw that. Tell me. But we can go from there to here. We can do it. And I'm relying on you and the fact that you are real people and the power that we've built in this community to make that shit happen. Glenn Kaneko, thank you. I feel like I'm living in a bad dream, but thanks for making things clear. We're going to win this. I want you to think about this, and I'm going to leave this is the last thought, I promise. I want you to imagine what this is going to be like when Democrats control Congress after the midterms. The investigations that are going to happen into this Pentagon money going into Trump's pocket. And with that, I want to leave Donald J. Trump a message. You're old and you're dying. And you know you're not going to be here for this. You know it. I know it. Your doctors know it. But I promise you this, I'm going after your kids. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.